Hi, I'm Alana Marie, and this is the first vlog for the first week. So, in week one, in the Rhetorical Act, the book that we're reading, the rhetoric is described as a planned use of symbols to achieve goals. Rhetorics all have a purpose and are usually planned out messages, they are not usually spontaneous sayings. Any form of symbol in writing and spoken language, such as fine arts, writing, photography, etc., anything that you could think of that like you look at and can see and could have like think about, is considered rhetoric or a symbol of rhetoric. And these can all be seen as a planned message from a rhetorical perspective of a human being, like I just said. Perspectives are how you see, and they help you create bias, and some of our views are distorted by our own personal rhetoric and our own personal rhetoric perspective. Perspective can be physical, such as going on a hike and climb to the top, and then just by yourself you say, what do I see? Your view of the hike might be different from what somebody else can see and stuff like that. If someone sees nature and all that, they could think something totally different than what you see. And then from their own perspective, they see many different things and interpret many things in different ways that, like, because it's just a human brain. Perspectives can also be mental, a saying that everyone keeps or something that a saying okay, let me get Perspectives can also be a mental thing, such as a physical thing, something someone telling you something like the glass is half full, or the glass is half empty. It's a form of rhetoric. Rhetoric explains many different things, such as emotion and social cues and how we see life. Rhetoric, the word itself, comes from the Greek language meaning art or skill, and rhetor meaning experienced political and public speaker. Aristotle, the great philosopher, believed that there were certain truths in nature. One of his quotes was, "There is not knowledge, but room for doubt." Explaining the truths that were uncertain and cannot be discovered through science is what he meant through that. It's just, I don't know, philosophy. And then some things that also could be considered as rhetorical are speeches, so such as speeches from our past leaders and stuff like that. The speech by Abraham Lincoln in 1864, which ended the Civil War, and then Martin Luther King's speech about "I Have a Dream" are very significant rhetorical speeches that send more than one message and are significant as a whole. Rhetorical acts are different from everyday human interaction. Anyone can interpret anything their own way, also meaning that people can misinterpret things in their own way as well. Most things in public are rhetorical acts, like music, advertisements, books, etc. When you are physically viewing and addressing these visuals, you're interpreting it in your own mind, meaning that you're making up your own like definition of what it is, and such as music and stuff like that. Sad music can make you happy. Happy music can make you sad. Music can remind you of someone. A movie can remind you of yourself. A movie can remind you of your life. It's just how you physically view things. Like I said, addressing these visuals and interpreting on our own is the purpose of rhetoric. It's to develop critical thinking. This is a quote that I took from the Rhetorical Act, the book. In other words, defined most broadly, rhetoric is the study of all processes by which people influence each other through symbols, regardless of intent or source. So even if it doesn't work to your advantage on taking rhetoric and using it to your perspective, it's still considered your rhetorical purpose. And then from the book, Reading Pop Culture, so in chapter 1, we learn how to become a critical consumer. And in Benjamin Barber's essay, they discussed how we live in a society that helps the rich get richer and keeps the poor where they are. As capitalism grows, the produce created by wealth is constantly being increased, where what's actually needed is being forgotten. This can be shown in American capitalism, for sure, in everyday life and stuff like that. If you do studies about poverty, the amount of people that get out of poverty is very, very slim. The thing about gaining wealth is once you have gained enough wealth, you have the power to oppress people and exploit the people that work for you in some ways and sort that you do not need to Like, you don't need to give out wealth. You just always like acquire wealth instead of just always acquire wealth, which is what capitalism in America is. And just from the past like 2020 year, we could see that consumerism, especially through main love Amazon or used to, it's just that companies like that exploit their workers, and it's unethical to get that type of money without without exploiting your workers and doing other things. Okay, thank you, and that was week 1.